Think about the last meeting you sat in. You had a point and a very clear one, and you had thought it through, and you said nothing. Now, maybe you were waiting for the right moment. Maybe you thought someone more senior should speak first. Maybe you second guessed yourself in terms of what if it sounds obvious. And by the time you decided to speak, someone else had already said it. And it was a weaker version of what he said or the other person said, and they got the credit for it. Now, if this has happened to you even once, this video is for you. Because in the next 8 to 10 minutes, I want to show you something. And this is not theory, this is not a motivational speech. I want to show you a specific reason why this keeps getting repeated, and 3 things you can do starting from your very next meeting to make it more optimized and change. So here is something nobody says out loud about the Indian workplace and how we approach it. Now, we were raised to respect hierarchies in our homes, in our schools, in our offices. And we were taught that speaking before the senior person is disrespectful, that waiting your turn is professional, and that keeping quiet is a sign of maturity. And most of our lives, that was right. Now, but somewhere between this transition from the school and then to the modern workplace, these rules change, and nobody informs us or tells us about this. Now, today in corporate, in companies, MNCs, in hospitals, in startups, in consulting firms, the person who gets promoted is not the most hardworking person in the world. This person is the most visible person in the field. Now, let me quickly quote one of the research conducted by Gallup, right, a very renowned firm. Now, what they did is they studied almost 15 million workers across 116 countries, and based on this, their 2026 report found out that promotion decisions are 60% emotional and only 40% technical. Now, what it means is 60% is a phenomenal and staggering number. That means how you are perceived, what people think about, how you clearly communicate, how confidently you show up matters more than what you actually do, right? In terms of the technical, the hard skills. And here is the part that should bother every smart, hardworking professional watching this video. And let me say it very loud and clear. Only 3 in 10 Indian employees feel that their opinion counts at workplace. Only 3 in 10 Indian employees feel that their opinion counts at work, that they are heard, that they are listened. So that means 7 out of 10 people with ideas, people with experience, people with value to share, are sitting in meetings every day, staying quiet and going home, feeling unheard, unseen, and just not recognized. Now, if that is you, I want you to know something. You are not shy. You are not lacking confidence. You were just never taught how to speak in a room that rewards visibility. So let me tell you exactly what staying silent costs you. And not in the long run, not in theory, right now in your current job. Every meeting where you have a valuable thought and you are not sharing it, your manager's mental picture of you gets smaller. Not because they think less of you, but because they simply do not know what you are thinking of or what are your thought structure. Now, promotions are not given to the hardest worker or somebody who is contributing very hardly, right, in a close room. They are given to the person whose name comes to mind when leadership starts pondering, starts asking who is ready for the next one, who is more presentable, who is more communicative. And names only come to mind if people have heard them in rooms, in meetings, in conversations. Now, while coaching hundreds of professionals across the world, and the single most common story I hear is this: someone brilliant, qualified, deeply committed to their work gets passed over for promotion. Not because they didn't deserve it, just because the person who got it was simply more visible than the student. Now, the frustrating truth is you do not have a knowledge gap. You have a visibility gap, and that is actually easier to fix. So why does this happen? Why do smart, capable people consistently stay silent when they have something valuable to contribute, or to say, or to share, or to kind of share it at the top? In my coaching experience, what I have found it comes down to 3 specific patterns. Pattern number 1, overqualifying the first one. Now, what it means is you have a thought, and then immediately your brain runs a checklist. Now, what this checklist is this thought smart enough? Is this the right moment to share, or speak, or say? Is someone going to disagree to what I'm going to say? Or by the time you finish checking, the conversation has moved on. Pattern number 2 is waiting for permission. Now here, many of us were taught to wait until we are asked. Now, so we wait. Now, we wait for the manager to prompt, or to say, what do you think? What are your thoughts? And that question often never comes. Now, meanwhile, someone who was not waiting has already shaped the direction of the conversation and has put forward this question. So that is two. Then comes pattern three. Now, pattern three is where it is fear of being wrong in public. And this is one of the deepest one and the most common. Now, we would rather say nothing than say something that could be maybe challenged. Now, in Indian classrooms and in workplaces and meeting rooms, being wrong in front of others feels too costly. So silence feels more safer for most of us. But silence has its own cost. It is just an invisible one, but it does cost. Now, here's what you can actually do about it. And I want to be more specific, not general advice. I would like to be kind of, speak up more or be more real shifts or ideas. No. What I'd like to put forth is very clear. Recommendation one is prepare one point before every meeting. Just one point. Be specific. Before you walk into any meeting, write down one thing, one insight, one risk, one question, one suggestion, not 5 things, and just one, and focus on one. And then say it in the first 10 minutes of the meeting, not in the last 2 minutes when everyone is already mentally wrapping up, leaving. You need to ensure that whatever you're going to share, that has to be in the first 10 minutes so that people can listen to you, hear to you. One strong, prepared contribution often is found to beat almost 5 or 8 vague comments which every single time people make. And within 2 weeks, I promise you, people will notice when do you speak. And that is the moment you have become more recognizable and visible. Recommendation 2 is stop qualifying your point before you make it. Now, what I'm trying to say here is pay attention to how you open your sentences in meetings. Do you say things like, I'm not too sure if this is right, but this is what I would add, or this might be a little stupid question, but I would like to say this, or maybe someone has already said this, but I would like to add this. Now, every one of those qualifiers which you are putting tells the room to take your point less seriously or give less weightage before you have even finished the sentence or the question or the thought which you want to use. So instead, say the point, just the point, and you can use something like, I think we should look at this differently, and then your point. Or here is a risk I want to flag, and then there's your point. Or what if we tried this instead, and then your point. So with this, you're coming very cleanly, confidently, and you're done. So this is recommendation 2. Recommendation 3 is follow up in writing up the meeting, and this is something which I have seen people at the leadership level doing lately. And this one is the most underused and the most powerful. Now, after a meeting where you contribute, even a small thing, maybe any thought or any idea, send your manager a 2-line message. And it could be, let's say, following up on what we discussed about ABC, I think the next step, which could be XYZ, could be this, and have to take it forward. Now, that message does 3 things. It shows you were engaged, you were there, mindful. It shows your initiative, and it puts you and your name there in the inbox, connected to a specific valuable outcome. Now, most of your colleagues will never do this, which means the bar is low, the entry levels are low, and the opportunity is big here, this space. So before I close, I want you to do one thing. And I'm not going to recommend a course or a training program or a 30-day plan or something. No, just one thing. Think of one meeting you have this week, just one meeting. And before you walk into that, write down one point, one thought that is genuinely useful, something you would want to say if you were not afraid of how you would eventually land up. And then say it in the first 10 minutes, as I said, without qualifying yourself. And that is it. That is where it starts. So you know more than you think, and this is something which is true to the matter. Now, the problem was never what you know. It was that the right people were not hearing it, were not listening. And if, after hearing all this, and if at all you're convinced that if this video gave you even one thing to think about, gave you some structure, some thought, some clarity, ensure that you're sharing it with at least one person, your colleague, connections at your workplace, who you know is sitting on valuable ideas and maybe not sharing. You might actually change how they're going to show up maybe in the next meeting tomorrow. And ensure that you're subscribing, you're liking. I will see you in the next one.